Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. It is Saturday morning, which means tonight, at around about 1:30 in the morning, European time, or 12:30 Celtic Park time, we play DC United. Fantastic for the fans in America. They'll get to see the team playing, and some of us might stay up. Are you going to stay up and watch the game? Tell me in the comments section. Tell me in the comments section. Yes, today there's a lot of Celtic transfer news to talk about. One in and one out. And the manager's been talking about Kasper Schmeichel. And yes, yesterday I said Peter Schmeichel. It's an easy one to do. I was under the weather still yesterday, but it seems to have gone today. Thankfully, the man flu that I've had for around about a week has disappeared. And we all know, yes, it's Kasper Schmeichel. Kasper the Ghost, not Peter. Imagine bringing Peter back. That'd probably be something that Celtic might actually do, is bring someone out of retirement just to play for Celtic, because it's what Celtic do, really, isn't it? But anyway, let's listen to the boss rather than me this morning.
Well, first and foremost, as a goalkeeper, he's still a top-class goalkeeper. My time working with Kasper, he's one of the most driven players I've ever worked with in my career. So he's very competitive, and to be able to play at 37, he's one of the top goalkeepers in the Euros. It wasn't that long ago. He's into the knockout stages playing for them. He was in the team of the season away at Anderlecht last season in Belgium. So I know what his qualities are from a football perspective, but I also know Kasper as a person, and he's a great guy. And for this group of players, like what Joe was, his experience, he's very charismatic, but he's very, like I say, he's very driven and very competitive, and he'll be able to support the group in that side of it. So yeah, I'm really positive and really happy to be able to bring someone of Kasper's quality into the football club. But I also have said to him, this will be one of the best experiences of his life. You know, coming to a club this size, and for however long that is, he's signed for 1 year. There's an option there for a second year, but I know that he will absolutely love this club and embrace it in his time here.
We'll obviously speak to him when he arrives, but in your conversations, how excited is he to be joining up?
Yeah, he's very excited. As I said, I know him well, and I know what drives him, and playing on the biggest stage is
Champions League football.
is a real focus for him. So I know he's so looking forward to coming, sampling Glasgow, but obviously he's here for the football, and I think that first run out onto Celtic Park, when he feels the crowd and feels the passion of the supporters, that's why he's still playing football.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent. So we all know that was a Brendan Rodgers deal. That was a Brendan Rodgers deal. It was one that he probably phoned Peter himself. I did it again, Kasper. I need to clear the throat. He phoned Kasper Schmeichel himself and got the deal done. Now, other deals that have been in the pipework but haven't concluded as yet is the one for Paulo Bernardo, and everyone thought, is this really going to happen? Sky did announce the fact that Paulo Bernardo had signed for Celtic in a deal worth 3.5 million, and everyone thought, great, it's done, it's dusted, and then it all went quiet, and negotiations were still taking place, and then everyone thought, is he going to make the flight to America? And then sadly we seen the picture of him training with Benfica, and we thought, this deal's not going to fall through. Surely the deal isn't going to fall through at the last minute after it had been announced on Sky. But it has been done, and it has been dusted by all accounts in Portugal. The Abolo paper says Paulo Bernardo. I'm not even going to try and say that in Portuguese. My Spanish is bad enough for trying to pronounce things in Spanish correctly, even though I'm Scottish. Anyway, Paulo Bernardo has been sold for €4 million, which is about £3.5 million. And they also have a 30% sell-on clause. So just like the Jota deal, they have managed to get 30% out of Celtic. So it has been confirmed. It looks like Paulo Bernardo, the 22-year-old, will now fly. Don't know if he'll fly to Glasgow and then fly to America, or if he'll fly straight to America. I'm not too sure about that one. He'll probably just fly straight to America to meet up with the team, which will be fantastic news for Brendan Rodgers. It is another player that he wanted. It is a player who, let's not forget, Without Paulo Bernardo, we would not have won the Scottish Cup last season. Paulo Bernardo picks up the ball in the middle of the park, gets past 2 Rangers players and takes a shot from the edge of the box, and the ball rebounds for the one and only Adam Ida to then tap the ball, smash the ball, fire the ball into the back of the net to send Celtic fans gone wild, and then to win the Scottish Cup and win the double. Celtic have got the Paulo Bernardo one. Will the Adam Ida one get done? There is a lot of speculation around that one also. But the good news is, on a transfer perspective, we're getting a third player in. Now, people will say, is he really the replacement for Mattarelli? It doesn't really matter. We'll leave the Mattarelli one. We've talked about that enough. I think we need to let that one just play out through the rest of the pre-season. Now, whilst Celtic have confirmed that Peter Schmeichel will be here for 1 year with the possibility of the extension of 1 year also, there is another goalkeeper that has talked his way out of Celtic. And let's face it, he was that far down the pecking order behind the one and only Scott Bain. Yep, Scott Bain. Benji Siegrist, it looks like he will be leaving Celtic at last, finally. The player that's done absolutely nothing and didn't even try, it seems, to push Scott Bain out of the first team picture. He is now travelling to meet up with Neil Lennon. It was suggested last night that Neil Lennon has come in and he's been given permission to speak to Benji Siegrist. And Benji Siegrist will now head off to Romania to play football with Neil Lennon, Romania. So much for his missus wanting a top European destination, and she's going to end up in Romania. I think it's funny as anything, because she's obviously on social media all during the summer saying that Benji has got a release clause in his contract. He can walk away, and we've got a new start this year, putting him between two chopsticks. He's going to be in goals. She was all over social media during the summer, well, before the players went back into pre-season, and people weren't expecting Benji Siegrist to come back to Celtic. But people were a bit confused because she said that he had left Celtic, and then 2 days into training, he's pictured back training at Celtic Park. He was never in part of any of the pictures that Celtic released, but obviously he had to come back because he was still under contract. But he has been allowed, the 32-year-old has been allowed to leave Celtic after he made it clear that he wanted to leave Celtic. So he wasn't prepared to fight for the first position. And that's obviously said, the managers obviously went, well, you know what, we're going to get in a younger keeper anyway. We're going to get in a younger keeper and we're going to get in an older, experienced keeper. So you've kind of forced my hand. Anyway, Kasper Schmeichel does come in. Yes, Kasper. Just remind myself that. Just... Yes, I read the comments yesterday. These are all funny. At least I can breathe today. Anyway, there is new goalkeepers in at Celtic, which is absolutely fantastic. And look, I did say, if we're only looking at two signings that we needed this summer, and if it was two goalkeepers that needed replaced due to the fact that Benji Siegrist said he had left Celtic, and the one and only legend Joe Hart. Now, I was seeing a podcast yesterday, and these Irish dudes were saying that, is Joe Hart really a legend? Is he a Celtic legend? Will he be held up in high regard with real Celtic legends that have been there for years and years? And I'm going to put that out to you this morning in the One Celtic Fans View channel. Tell me in the comment section, do you think that Joe Hart is a legend? Because they were suggesting that he wasn't, and that it was a bit. They weren't sure exactly. They obviously don't watch Celtic, and it's one of these Irish podcasts that they throw their weight behind the English Premier League and all that pish, and they probably watch Celtic once in a blue moon, and when they play the blue side of Glasgow. But anyway, that's just a question for you this morning. Do you think that Joe Hart has left a legend? I personally think he has. I think once he announced his retirement, he played out his skin to make sure that he won the double for Celtic. And for me, he'll always be a Celtic legend. He knew what the club was about. And I think that's what the manager is finding that he's got with Kasper Schmeichel. He knows that he is a similar type of character and that he'll embrace everything about the club. And Kasper wants to obviously win medals because at the end of the day, that's why he's coming here, to win some medals before he hangs up his gloves, as it said. But he also wants to play at the highest level, and that opportunity to play 10 games in the Champions League is ultimately which brought him to the club. And it's a shame that somebody like Benji Siegrist wasn't prepared to try and fight for that position. I mean, he's been at the club a few years, and by all accounts, he's just been sitting counting the cash, a bit like Scott Bain. But anyway, they're gone. It is all about the future. It's all about what Brendan Rodgers is building at Celtic now. Is Brendan Rodgers building something completely different to what we've done before? And he's got a bit of a longer term vision, because I don't think that anybody really thought that we had a long term vision the first time under him. I don't think anyone really thought that, even though people thought he was here for 9 in a row, and some people didn't think he was here for 9 in a row. Some people still think that Brendan Rodgers will still walk because he's not been funded adequately in the transfer window. Some Celtic fans still think that he'll still walk, and some people still think that Brendan Rodgers is a complete charlatan and a yes man for the boards. Tell me your comments about that. I think that Brendan Rodgers will be here for the minimum of 3 years. I have said that ever since he came back. He will not walk away. He will not do that again to the club. He has a thing in mind that he wants to leave as a legacy for the club, and I think he's starting to put that in place. Anyway, tell me your thoughts in the comment section. It's absolutely fantastic to hear from you all, as always. And yes, I can breathe because Casper the Ghost has got rid of my sinus issues. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party.